Aloha and welcome back to ICS Software Engineering. This semester we're going to be doing ICS 414, second semester software engineering. And I'm super psyched about this semester because I can assume that all of you have the fundamental basic tools and technologies for software engineering under your belt. And so now we can build on those and produce something super cool. That's my goal. So as before, contact information, all of this should be pretty self-evident to you. New website, but otherwise email, phone, office, all that kind of stuff is the same. Office hours, 3 to 4 p.m. or more generally whenever you can catch me and my door is open, it's fine. So the goals of the class are the top level goal is pretty much similar to last semester. We want to learn to efficiently build high quality, reasonably large scale software systems. We're going to grow a small one into a big one. We're going to pursue the open source prime directives and we're going to use tools. This is the same goal as last semester and in a sense last semester gave you all of the ideas and techniques necessary to do it, but you didn't ever really get to actually do it. I wouldn't call the textbook site, a reasonably large scale software system. It was really pretty tiny. This semester, we're going to build something way more complicated and more interesting than that textbook exchange system. As before, you really want to have a decent laptop. And they're not very expensive, $1,000 or so. There'll be a large amount of programming. So, if you've been having issues with your laptop or you found last semester was a struggle, then you really might want to consider upgrading. The grading, there's basically three kinds of things happening in this class. There are going to be some technical essays, there's going to be a whole lot of coding, and there's going to be a whole lot of in-class work. And I'm saying that basically all of these are going to be worth a minimum of 20%, but since there's only three categories, some of them are going to be worth a lot more. I'm not sure exactly which will be worth more because I'm not sure exactly how much of each of those things you're going to end up doing. But all three of those things are going to be very important. As before, if you get 90% of all the points in the class, you're guaranteed an A. I won't vary from that, but if for some reason I grade really hard and and it turns out that I feel that less than 90% should be worth an A, then I will make adjustments. On the other hand, if everybody gets above 90%, then everybody gets an A. That's okay. Technical essays, just like last semester, I'm going to be having you do more writing because I think that's very important. I saw a lot of progress from all of you last semester in your writing, and I want to keep that going. We won't be doing it every single week. But we'll be doing it, relatively often, probably a couple times a month. Okay, and so the coding part is going to be building a relatively complicated program called RadGrad, and we'll all be working together on this single project. So there's going to be 12, counting me. There's 15 people enrolled right now, I think. When you add me in, that's 16 developers in a single team, so that's a fairly large development team, and so we'll see how that goes. I'm sure there will be issues involved in the size of this team, and that will be an important learning experience. The system that we're going to build there's a kind of initial specification of it at radgrad.org. So one of the things you need to do very soon is go to this site and read through all of the pages. You can see in the nav bar there's some pull down menus. Go to all those pages and read through it so that you start to understand what this system is about. If this system looks absolutely horrible to you and it would be the worst thing in your life to actually work on it, then you definitely should drop the class because you're going to be thinking about RadGrad more days than not during this semester. So make sure that this is a topic of interest to you. There's going to be essentially three phases to the semester at a very high level. The first week or two is going to be kind of getting comfortable with the idea of RadGrad and what its goals are, plus the initial implementation. I've done a lot of coding over the break to kind of set things up so we can get going relatively quickly. And then the second, starting in about a week, we'll be spending some time on the domain model. There's basic entities in the system, like there are these things called tags, there are these things called opportunities, courses, and so forth. So there are these basic types of things, but we need to build it out with all of the courses in the ICS curriculum and all the opportunities or example opportunities that are available during the semester. And we'll be building personas, which are various kinds of types of students at various points during their ICS degree, and we'll be implementing those. So we're going to build up this database of a domain model for RadGrad that we can use to explore how the user interface works and explore certain advanced prediction, recommendation facilities, and so forth. That latter aspect goes under user interface and user experience design, so UI and UX. I'm sure you've heard of UI. You probably haven't heard of UX, but that's something that we're going to really try to get in this semester, the user experience. So what's the difference between those two things? And so in a nutshell, user interface is old school catch-up bottles you see on the right-hand side. User experience is what happens when someone thinks, now how do people actually use catch-up? Well, with the old bottles, you'd always pick up the bottle and you'd turn it upside down and you'd shake it to get the catch-up to the bottom, to the the spout, and then you'd squeeze it out, or you'd shake the bottle to get it out. And then someone looked at that experience and said, how can we improve that? And so they made a new kind of container for catch-up, which was plastic and squeezable, and also was designed to stand on its cap so that the catch-up would always be resting right at the bottom of the, right near the spout, so it can come out really easily. Okay, so the goal of user experience is to really think about how the user interacts with a particular system, or a particular system construed broadly beyond just the computer, but all of the other people and so forth. And how can we make that better or optimize it? So user experience is a lot more than just interface design and visual design, which is kind of more the UI part of it, but it also involves going into the field and learning about how people do things, interviewing users, creating personas, thinking about the information architecture and usability, doing a lot of prototyping, taxonomy creation, and so forth. Okay, so that's hopefully what we'll be able to do this semester, is go beyond the user interface aspect. Here's another little graphic that I like. Starts on the left with what is content. Content, in this case, in the case of a meal, would be all of the vegetables and meats that are associated with it, and then the user interface is the actual dish that it results from adding these ingredients together and cooking them and so forth and plating them up. But that's not the user experience. The user experience is how people feel during the whole, in the broader sense, as they interact with the system and other people involved with the system. So you go to a restaurant, was your experience of going to that restaurant good or bad? And that's influenced by more than just the quality of the dish that you were served. Of course, the quality of the dish that you were served was very important, but it wasn't the whole thing. So there's something beyond user interface that we want to get at. All right, well, that's all well and good in the case of restaurants. Well, how do we think about that in the case of RadGrad? And the idea in RadGrad is that we'll start off with things like classes. Those are our kind of raw ingredients. And then we put them together into a system called RadGrad. And that is kind of, has a user interface, and it combines the classes and presents them in a certain way. But then the user experience is, well, what happens when you get together with your advisor to try to figure out what it is you actually want to do? What is that experience like? And is RadGrad enhancing that experience and making it better, or is RadGrad making that experience worse? That's what we want to try to figure out this semester. So, in conclusion, we want to build a prototype RadGrad system that we can deploy and evaluate in a variety of contexts. So we want to be able to not only just build the thing, but actually use it on a trial basis with both faculty and students in order to gain insight into how we can actually improve the experience of ICS students. So can we improve their understanding of what it means to get a computer science degree? Can we improve their understanding of what it means to have a career in computer science and how your degree helps or hinders that process? And then how you can actually make changes to what you're doing during the semesters that remain to you, such that you optimize both your computer science degree program and put you on track to have a better computer science career. There we go. Good luck. Hope this sounds interesting to you. I'm pretty psyched. I think that really we can make a lot of really interesting changes to the computer science degree program experience. You guys can be a part of it. Who knows? This just might make you really famous. Maybe it won't. Probably it won't. You probably won't be famous as a result of this. I take it all back. But in the back of my mind, I think, if we really did do a good job of this, we really could make an impact on the next generation of students coming through our program. And wouldn't that be a nice thing? All right, so I'll see you later.